welcome Dadas all over Kenya and East Africa. Thank you for watching the DADA'S show. We're on KBC Channel 1. We come on at 4 p.m. every Sunday. And we are always talking about anything to do with issues women. As long as you're a lady, you're a dada, you're one of us, you're very welcome to watch us. Today I want to talk about teenage pregnancies. And during COVID, we've had the opportunity to be startled by numbers about how many of our girls are actually expecting children, and they are children themselves. I'm joined by Jane. Jane, I'm so proud of you that you could come and share your story with us about your experience as a teenage mom, which I think is some time ago. And you are no longer a teenager.
I'm no longer. I know I'm a teen with like 15 years experience.
So, yeah, you are a teen. You are a teen with another teen.
With another, exactly.
I am so proud of you, first of all, because you have been able to make a life of yourself after this thing.
Yeah,
I wanted you to share the experience with us. Tell us a bit about yourself.
My name is Jen Mghambi Maure. I'm married to Benedict Maure. Now we have 2 children, Miriam and Jabali, and I'm a civil servant right now. So I grew up at the coast, and most of my life, maybe by then, I grew up at the coast most of my life, actually, half of my life. I was there, then we came back to Nairobi. So during my teen life, I got a baby, I got pregnant when I was 16, almost turning to 17. And after that, I went back to school. Maybe we'll discuss more about it. But I'm also a certified life coach.
Oh, great.
I'm a leadership facilitator. And again, I studied economics and finance.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So let's say this, you are so much more than a lady who got pregnant.
Yes.
As a teenager.
Yes.
Let's go back to you at 16. You met boy meets girl.
Yes.
And things happen. And did you realize you were even pregnant? You told me you were in Form 3. How did you even know what had happened? Did you realize you were expecting a baby? How did what happened?
I got pregnant and I was 16. I was in Form 3 by then. For me, I didn't realize that much. I remember it was during the December holidays. So immediately it was January and we were supposed to go back to school. So I went to school, and for me, I knew when I go to school, I'll miss my periods. That was the trend ever since. So I went to school and my periods were not there, and for me it was a norm. I didn't have tough pregnancy moments. I did not vomit, like having a tough time. No, it didn't happen. So after first term, the time that now we want to go back home, the first time is over. And by then my belly never showed.
But you were 16.
I was 16,
Yeah. When you are 16, surely even your belly cannot show.
Yeah, so nobody suspected, my teachers, my friends, no one suspected. So I went home, and of course my mom and my dad, and by then I think I was like 5 months. So my parents noted, and they told me, we want to take you for a checkup. So I said, okay, fine. For me, I don't think I was worried, but I'd started feeling, hey, no, there's something.
You had not felt...
At the 5 months, I started feeling some movements. Then I was like, I was in denial, first of all. I never wanted to accept that I was pregnant. No, I can't be. My dad is a pastor in a local church. How can I be pregnant? No, I couldn't accept. So at that point, I decided, okay, my parents said that they wanted to take me for a test, so I accepted. We went for a test. We went with my mom. My dad by then was working in Nairobi. So we went with my mom to the hospital, and she was the one who was given the test. So we came out. For the first time, my mom told me, I think we need to go have some lunch. And I knew, that's it.
Because normally you go home.
Yes.
Mothers never buy lunches in hotels.
I knew.
Mothers never buy lunches in hotels. Maybe fathers, but mothers, they don't.
So I knew definitely this is it. So I went with her, and she told me. She never even told me I was positive. She asked me, so who is the father? I felt like the world had come to an end. I was so frustrated. I can't remember even how many things came to my mind by that time. But I just felt like, I wish I would have died. What is this? How am I going to start? How is it going to end? How is it going to be? I'm going to be a mother, And then to make it worse, the guy was a Muslim.
Ooh.
So it was.
So your parents are pastors, you're a pastor's child,
Imagine.
and now a Muslim has impregnated you.
It was bad. For me, it was bad. I felt like I'd brought my parents so much shame and all that. So I was so frustrated. So when my mom told me that I couldn't eat, I didn't eat, in fact. So she just told me, okay, now that you don't want to eat, I want to run some errands in town. So
you couldn't even eat the hotel food?
No, I couldn't.
Wow.
I
That's very
couldn't
sad.
eat.
I think that's what you remember the most about that meeting.
Yes.
That you were in a hotel, that you
Yes.
never ate.
They never ate. So that moment, then my mom, we parted ways. So I had to go back home. My friend, hiyo barabara ilikuwa mrefu. It was a never-ending road. So I just went home, but I cried. I really cried. I was so bitter at myself. I was so bitter, thinking about the kind of things I have caused my parents. So fast forward, maybe. So between
Did you go
in
back
that
to school? Were you able to go back to school after
Yes.
that? Or now your parents said you stay at home? Or you went back for second
no,
term?
no. For that one, I had to stay at home. I was 5 months by then, so it didn't make sense for me to go back to school. Then I'll drop out at some moment. So I had to stay at home first, take care of the baby, then go back to school later. There was a time maybe after that, when my parents knew who was responsible, they just called the parents, and they wanted to take me in, but my dad said, no, we will take care of her. She has to finish her studies, God willing, then we will see the way forward. So my parents decided they accepted what had happened. But it was a tough times even for them, just accepting that their daughter was pregnant. They are an example to the society. And so it was very tough even for them, I must say. I don't want to believe it was an easy time for them. So we came.
But you're very fortunate that because perhaps they were pastors, they were a bit empathetic, they were a bit compassionate, they did not throw you out. I know many people are thrown out, or their parents are like, go, or since the other party had accepted to come for you, maybe you would have been married off. You are very fortunate. Do you think you are very fortunate that your parents are perhaps pastors?
I know they were pastors. I'll say it was the Jesus in them. But again, maybe I had a tough father. Before that, alikuwa anatuambia, when you get pregnant in my house, I will step on your tummy. So for me, my dad is a disciplinarian. Till now, he was. So I used to fear him a lot. Fear and respect. Knowing that so that was again my other fear when I got pregnant. My dad. And by then he was in Nairobi. So I never wanted him to come back to that house. Because I knew he would kill me, literally kill me, And to my surprise, I don't know what happened. Let me say it was just God. I think God just touched them. I really can't tell, but I'll say it was the Jesus in them, the God in them. Yeah.
Having a small baby, Jane, how does that change a young girl's life?
For me, it made me to focus more. Fast forward, when I gave birth, my baby was... I think at around 3 months, I was supposed to go for an interview in a school in Ngong now. So during that time, I went to the school. My mom had attended a relative's burial, and my dad had traveled to Lodwar. So I was left alone with my younger sister who was in class 4. So I was supposed to go for an interview to join Form 3 again. I went to that school with a baby on my back to do my interview. And I reached there. Do you know what? The deputy principal was a man I can't forget. He was called Mr. John Fisher. He looked at me and he saw the baby. Just told him I've come for the interview. And the baby, had the 3 months jab. She was really crying. So I told the teacher, I'll go for the interview. When the baby will be crying, I'll come, give breastfeed her, and then go back. My sister was the one, 4 years, she was in class 4. She was the one who was handling my baby. So the teacher looked at me and told me, you know what? You have a position already, just go home. For me, I just call him like a destiny helper. Because that was a miracle to me. And it was a day school again. So I had again to come in. I was in boarding school previously, so I had to come in to a day school. And it was tough. Because at night I used to be a mother. I never used to go with books at home. I used to typically study in school. I would get in at 6, leave at 6:30. Because I knew at school I would read. At home, I would go and breastfeed and take care of the baby and all that. So for me, it made me to be more responsible again. And I had to refocus. I now realized I messed up my life, and now I have to prove my parents that I'm a good girl. Whatever happened was a mistake. Okay. And true to my word, and I was so determined. You know, even in a day school, people would really talk about you. Oh, she's pregnant and all that. So I would feel bad. But it came to a point I accepted. And I said, yes, I have a baby. And you know, the whole school knew I had a baby. And at some point, I remember I used to sell groundnuts in school. I used to carry groundnuts in my bag, around 400 shillings groundnuts. So my mom would cook for me during the day. Then I'll come. That money I used to go and give my mother. I never spent any of it. So that money was what my mom used to buy milk, because I felt like I'd given her a burden that she shouldn't have, because that was my responsibility. So I couldn't really let her do all the things by herself. So I felt like I needed to do something. And she was a housewife. So for me, it was more of, I will become responsible. And in the same school where people would really talk about you and say, you know, backbiting, you're pregnant and all that, I will see boys still coming. And at the same time, I was in Form 3. By the time I was in Form 4, I was elected as the school head girl. So for me, that was a plus for me, thinking that people still believe in me. People still have hope in me. So I never joked. At that time, I took my responsibility with my 2 hands. You know, I see people complaining that they have given birth and they're complaining that their parents are not supporting them. For me, I'll say it's your responsibility. Don't blame it on your parents. Do what you can. Even if you're done with school, do the little thing that you can, because your parents had their life. You know, whatever you did, just take it up. Okay. Yes.
My question to you would be also that here you are now a mother. Mm-hmm. Did you ever wonder about the fatherhood? Did the father ever come looking for the child? Mm-hmm. Did he volunteer to help in any way? Did you feel overwhelmed by the fact that you are now sort of a single mom when you think about it? Yeah, yeah. But you are very young. You are a child yourself. You are basically a child, a single mom who is a child
with a child
who hasn't even finished school. I mean, what are some of the logistics of just being, because this is grown-up stuff you're dealing with. You're grown up. You're dealing with very grown-up stuff, and you're a child. How was that for you?
It was really tough. The father never came through. So for me, it was really a frustration. I remember when my daughter was 2 years, and we were forced to take her to a day school. And in that day school, because we couldn't even afford that milk, so we'll put in kwa chupa, you know, the sungura chupas, zile za kitambo with a tag. Yeah. We would put strong tea in that cup for her to go, and then ayo shuleni. And I look at it now and I said, I think we really up to now, I find her very understanding, in the sense that if she misses something, she will not complain. She will know this is what my parents can afford. And I think it was ever since when she was young. And it was really tough, I must tell you. But again, I thank God for my parents. I remember my dad would go to maybe to the market, and she would buy my daughter clothes. She would literally come home with her clothes. And my daughter, let me say, she's my dad's favorite. They really love each other because of, I mean, how my parents were also supportive. With the little we had, with the struggles we had, I mean, it was very tough. Even after that, I went to campus, again leaving this child with my parents back at home, and thinking, oh God, they are taking care of her, you know. And even the fact that your parents were struggling in their own, and again umewaletea mtoto hapa. So it was a real struggle, I'm telling you. It was a real, because you have to always think, what do I need to do to get an extra income? What do I need to do for this girl's, life to be better? So for me, it pushed me to work hard, first of all, because at some point I think the school where I was, if I was there, I wouldn't have gotten a grade for me to go to campus. But where I was, I got a grade that allowed me to go to campus. And again, I got a scholarship for me to go and study. So I think it was a push for me, having that girl. It really pushed me, because even as a single mother, you realize that you are the only hope to this child. And you would never wish them to lose hope even in you, because you're their only hope. So for me, it was that. I had to just work hard.
My other question is, looking back now, 2020, what made you gullible to become a teenage mom? What do you think made you gullible? Was there that lack of information? Was it that you were bored? Because sometimes it's just pure boredom. Were there no recreational facilities? I don't know. What made you gullible to become a teenage mom?
For me, I think information.
Information lacked.
Information lacked at that time. And I think also being bored,
Yeah.
you just don't know. I mean, life happens. So there's that lack of vision
Yeah.
at a young age. You don't have mentors, again, people to mentor you. Parents can do their part, but you know, those role models, people to look up to, you know, I don't think they were there that much. And maybe if I would link it up to this era, I would say there's a lot that has changed. There's social media. There's so many people can look up to. There are so many role models you can look up to. There's that one person that you look at and say, I want to be this person. Or when I grow up, I want to go to this direction. So I'll say, for me, those are the main factors that I'll think of.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't think that the boy was also a smooth talker? I thought you would say that.
Oh, definitely he was.
I thought the first thing you would say is that the boy was quite convincing.
Yeah, he
Was the thought
convincing.
of pregnancy, did it ever come up as a discussion point?
With him? No. We had never discussed about it. I mean, how will you even discuss about pregnancy at that age? Yeah, so it was, we didn't even discuss about it that much. And I say, yeah, he was, nyama ya ulimi.
He was Nyama ya ulimi.
Yes, you know.
Now with all this
sweetheart.
information, think about it, Jane, with everything that is there, we still have a lot of girls getting pregnant. We have social media, we have so much information, it's everywhere. But look at the numbers, they are over the roof.
Sure.
So why is it that still girls are getting pregnant? What do you think is the problem?
For me, if you'll ask me where the problem is, first of all, I believe I'm a product of women empowerment, and I have done it, and I like doing it. But I felt there was a time where we lost the boys. Even right now, when you talk about who talks to the boys about taking care of that flower, you know, who talks to the boys that tomato inafaa kukuliwa wakati imeiva. You'll never eat a raw tomato. You'll even buy it in the market as it is raw, take it at home, uiache iive, then you use it by then. But who talks to the men about all those things? How to value this girl, how to take care of her? Because I believe our problem as women, especially when it comes to pregnancy, it begins with the boys. That girl never becomes pregnant on her own. There's another man who is involved. But what if we go to that man and do a lot of mentorship to them, that they should take care of this flower, they should take care of this girl, that there's always a right time. Let's wait till that rose is ready, till that flower blossoms, then you can uchukue uringe nayo vile unataka, you know. And for me, I think that is a point. And again, I'll say, on the issue of social media, I wouldn't want to blame the social media that much. One thing I believe is our parents, and we maybe as the parents and the children that are on the social media, we are both learning how to use the social media. The parents were never taught on, you know, it's a whole new generation, it's a whole new era that has come up. So I would say there is no teacher on the social media per se, but we are accountable for what is happening again. Whatever our children are watching, again, but at the same time, there's that stage where you say, mtoto haambiliki, hasemezeki. You know, you can't tell them. Role models again. Who do your children look up to? I mean, huwa wanaangalia nani? And as parents, do we talk to them at a young age, or do we wait for waende kufundishwa wakiwa shuleni? Do we let them learn all these things in school, or do we start at home? Or do we wait? You know, at some point we usually say, ngoja afike 10 years, ndo nitaanza kumwambia.
Ngoja at least zake zitokeleze. You know, that's what we tell them.
Exactly.
We tell ourselves,
Then to our surprise, the day you tell them, Mama, I knew. Then you're shocked. How did they know? They knew. So we need to have these conversations as early as possible and be as candid as possible, be as open as possible to these young people.
Do you sometimes feel angry that your life stopped and you were, okay, I love the fact that you used your lemon to make lemonade. But do you feel that there were such low consequences for the young man, like there were no consequences? He went back to his life. One small discussion, I'm sure he got a small slap in the wrist from his parents, if anything. Maybe he was just told, usifanye hivyo tena. He went back to his life and continued with his life, continued with his... I mean, you had to stop school, take care of the baby. Up to today, you are still responsible for the child. When he moved on with his life, went and did other things, do you sometimes feel angry, and do you think it's fair?
Yeah, I was so angry. Let me see, sometimes I feel angry completely because I'm like, I had to stop my life for a whole year and he was continuing with his life.
Yeah.
You know, and it is so, you feel so frustrated. It feels so bad. You're realizing that somebody else is going on with their life. And then apart from that, you are left alone struggling, taking care of this. But you are all by yourself. You know, that's another pain. So for me, I'll say, yeah, there was that pain, so much anger and all that. And I'm feeling, if you ask me if it was fair, sometimes I feel it was not fair. For me personally, I'll tell you it was not fair. Because, and it was not fair. If I say it was not fair, and I'll link it to maybe nature. Because I'm a woman. I can't compare myself with the man. For him, life has to stop. Of course, he'll not come at here and he's sitting next to me, taking care of the baby. Yes, and of course, my parents told me you'll have a chance to go back to school. So I'll not go back to that man. It will be a disappointment to them. So I link it to maybe nature because for them, life has to go on. There's nothing that has to stop on their side. But for me, everything has to stop. For a whole year, and not even a whole year, entire period, because that's a scar. Said, I'll say it's not pretty, but it reminds you of your past. You know, you look at it and you say, this was my mess. It's a beautiful mess. You know,
it became a message, really.
Sure. It
became a message. That's why you're able to sit here today and tell the story. So who's this wonderful man who married you? How did you meet him? And what a lovely man. I must congratulate him on TV.
Yes. I also thank God for him. Because for me, one thing I did when I was, those men who would come to me, or even those who didn't know I had a baby. My friend, I'll just tell you the first thing. Hey, I'm a buy one, get one free, you know. Buy one, get one free. So I just tell them, hey, I have a baby. So if you want to stay with me, you will stay. But if you feel you want to go, I really felt honesty helped me because there are so many people who hide their children. They don't want to be associated with their children. And even after we met, when we wanted to get married, he told me, we are going to stay with this baby. You're not going to let her go to Sijui ende ushago akai huko. No, we are going to stay with her. As much as I'm going to know you, I'll also she'll grow up knowing me and I'll grow up knowing her. So for me, I felt like he is a really understanding man when it comes to that aspect. And maybe I would say, you know, you're marrying a girl. I mean, you're getting married. Then you're realizing, as much as I'm taking care of this girl, I've never had a baby as a man now for him. You know, he has never brought up a child. So it was a really, I understand it was a tough situation for him, getting to understand the girl, and even sometimes disciplining her because he now took in the role of a father to him. Yeah, but I'll say he took it up so well. And up to now, I would say the relationship is so good.
Today,
good.
Because we have to go into a break, Jane. Today, if you were to talk to your 16-year-old Jane, what would you tell her?
Jane, wait. Wait, no matter how long it takes, wait. No matter how, every man looks handsome and all that, have a vision and look at your vision. Look forward to your vision, whatever you want to accomplish in life. But wait, no one has died because of lack of sex. So many have died because of too much sex or sex at an early age.
I don't think I have anything to add. Dadas, we are going into a break. Don't wait too long. Go get your tea, your coffee, your water, and we'll be right back. We are back. We're talking about teenage pregnancy. We had such a moving testimony from Jane. Thank you, Jane.
Thank you.
And I welcome Job from Dear Little Sisters Foundation. Job, tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, thank you for having us, Pauline. My name is Job Mugiira. Yeah, I come from Dear Little Sister Foundation. At the foundation, I'm more of a co-founder or a co-director. It was a foundation that was founded by my wife, but professionally, I'm a research and economic analyst, and in the foundation, I also volunteer as the research and information analyst.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Job, I'm so glad you're here representing Daisy. I think actually you are the right man for the job. because I wanted to ask you the question. When young men are impregnating girls, from your research, what are they thinking? Are they thinking at all?
This message goes to the girls. Men are selfish when it comes to things to do with sex.
Wow, okay.
I'll not explain further,
Yes.
but what girls should know is that men are selfish. It's called personal gratification. In fact, most men do not care how the girl will feel. For them, they are after one thing. They get sex, they disappear. The repercussions they know. In fact, if a boy and a girl had sex now, and we leave that door, the man will be very comfortable. In fact, he's looking forward to the next meeting, maybe with the same girl or another girl. But for the girl, she's thinking about what could have happened, what did I do? She even has to spend some coins, maybe to get a pregnancy test, and thereafter think on what to do just in case the test is positive. So men are selfless, and they will not even assist you know how to handle that issue. And because of their selfishness, it's good for girls to avoid men when they know they are not of the majority age, or they are not ready to bear the consequences. Otherwise, men do not care.
From your research, how bad are the numbers? We got some really shocking numbers from the ministry. Are they true? We don't know how true they are.
Now, for now, let's ignore the numbers that were going on during COVID-19 pandemic for reasons we all know. But from studies that have been conducted by various organizations, teenage pregnancy in Kenya is at between 18% and 20%. For every 5 girls you meet, one of them is a teenage mother, or she's pregnant. And you see, 1 out of 5 girls means that in every village, there are so many of them. I know of a village in Kenya, in fact, where Daisy comes from. And one of the motivation why she had to begin the foundation and run with it. Every boma, every homestead has a teenage mother, or they have a girl who became a mother when they were a teenager. And as such, no one laughs at the other in the village. So it's a normal thing, because every girl, like every boma, has a teenage mother. So as we speak, let's work with 20% of all the girls in Kenya are teenage mothers, or they are teenagers who are expectant.
Okay, tell us the beginnings of Daisy's not here. But what was the motivation for Daisy writing this book? There's a really lovely book here, Dear Little Sister. How did this journey of hers begin?
Daisy was born in Kericho County, a village called Chepsion. Yeah, I have so much information about her. Yeah.
You better, your husband.
Because I had to support her. This is her vision. What happened when she was in Form 2? The sister, when she was in Form 1, the sister was in Form 2, the elder sister. And the elder sister became pregnant when she was a teenager. And Daisy tells me the worst day in her life is the day she went home. Her mother approached her while crying and told her, your sister has to drop out of school because of a pregnancy. Now, what I'm trying to view here is Daisy was so heartbroken. And she tells me her strength was her mother. Now, your strength is weak. Your strength is crying. Where are you? What do you have to hold on? And that thing hurt her to the core. From that day, she decided, number one, she's not going to become pregnant. No one told her anything about, even the mother did not explain to her anything about pregnancy. But the tears of her mother hit her hard. And she decided she's not going to become a teenage mother. And she swore to never see her mother cry again because of such a mistake. So from there, she started writing a story when she was in Form 3. And by the time she was in Form 4, I think she had learned a lot of English. She wrote a very lengthy book. She had started with them as a few pages to encourage girls. And the whole idea about writing was, after her, she has, I think, three sisters. Yeah, 3 sisters. And she didn't want to see any of her sisters become pregnant. So she decided to write a letter to them. And now, because it's not her family only, it was like a village thing, a community thing. In the process, she would have reached the other girls. So she wrote the book in 2008. Because of financial challenges, she could not do much with it. She comes from whatever people call humble backgrounds, though I like saying even some poor people are proud. They are not humble. They can be arrogant. But for her, she came from a very humble background. And now, in 2000, when she came to she joined the University of Nairobi, she passed. So the book is written in the context of a high school friend who introduced her to male lovers. And the girl in the book, the main actor, is called Cherono. And now, Chepto is lured to male lovers by a friend called Mary. And now the story is in the context of a high school. They close schools. They go to, Mary invites Chepto, and Chepto becomes pregnant. And after she becomes pregnant, whatever happens in the villages, she's chased away from home by the dad. And she goes to her grandmother's place. She delivers there, and the baby grows there. Luckily, as she's looking for some work in Nairobi, a friend or the employer now becomes tough on her. Then she disappears. Then she meets a good Samaritan who takes her back to school. Because she was a bright girl, Chepto was a bright girl, finishes her education, becomes a medical doctor, and now, from her own experiences, writes a letter to the little sisters. And now the letter is what is here for all the girls in Kenya and beyond to read.
Wow. That's a really good story. It's so easy. It sounds like your story, Jane.
Completely. But
You should be writing. Jane has actually lived this story, yeah? You are aware of that, eh?
Yeah, in fact, she's
Yeah,
a living testimony. She's the,
Jane
she's
is
the
the
book.
living testimony of the book,
Yeah,
eh?
she's the book.
She has lived the book, if you think
Exactly.
Now,
about it.
so
I've lived
what
the
I like cautioning people about this book, most stories do not end with a good Samaritan. Yeah.
Yes.
You see, for
Yes.
Chepto, she was a bit lucky to find a good Samaritan to take her back to school. But poverty is what has hit so many of them. Yeah, not everybody gets the Samaritan.
Job, I wanted to ask you, and you can also chip in here, Jane. Eh? What is the socioeconomic impact of a teenage pregnancy in a home and to the girl?
It's terrible. I'm an economist by training.
Yeah, that's why I asked you.
And when I speak about such things, there is something called the vicious cycle. And this is what we have seen. Jane is lucky. I was
Jane
telling
has
her.
broken, Jane has
Yeah.
broken from that.
Yeah, she's
Ideally,
lucky.
she's probably one out of very few.
So we are very sad because one of our mentees, a teenage mother, has a second born.
Oh no.
And Daisy is so weak, she can't even know where to begin reaching out to this girl. We have worked with her, we supported her, we even supported the baby. But now, come to think of it, this girl is a daughter to a teenage mother. She was born when the mother was a teenager. Now what happens to the kids? The kids will grow in poverty, 99% chance. Now, what happens, we say education is the equalizer between the poor and the rich. Now, once you become a teenage mother, for the girls, 95% chance that becomes your end. So you're now, it's like you're sentenced to poverty. Now your girl grows with you here. Research has shown that because of the leading causes of teenage pregnancies are things like poverty. But now again, the question is, does poverty lead to teenage pregnancies?
Or do teenage pregnancies lead to poverty?
And where is the junction? And I'll say both answers are correct. Now these girls become so poor and vulnerable. So when they become vulnerable, wanaume ni hatari. They know that girl needs 20 shillings. And wasichana bwana, wacheni maneno mingi. No man will give you 20 shillings for free. Umemlimia shamba gani? So the men will approach you. Now, look here. because you do not have sufficient resources to afford a good life, you are a teenage mother, utaendelea kufanya vituko with men when your daughters are there. So daughters, your daughters, they are learning the skills from the best, from their mother. And that is the same men. We have cases of where a man was coming to the mother, found a girl at home, and the girl decided to offer the services that the mother would have offered. And now we have a vicious cycle here where mothers women who became teenage mothers and gave birth to daughters, the daughters are highly likely to become teenage mothers.
Yeah,
And
that
now
is true.
ukisha acha shule, what happens? Your dreams are cut short. Like Daisy's sisters, after they dropped out of school, you know, she was a bit lucky. The guy married her. Yeah, and currently they are living well. But for most men disappear once you become a teenage mother. So poverty, it's hapo ni kama umesentensiwa to poverty.
You are sentenced to
It's true.
poverty.
I
God
agree.
loves you. You're lucky.
Amen. I'm lucky. And again, I'll say this. I wouldn't want to say we were well off, one thing. Because for me, I mean, you know, the way people, kitambo walikuwa na view pastors as very poor people. My dad was a full-time pastor. First of all, when I went back after I gave birth, I was given a scholarship. It means we couldn't afford the school fees. Even the school where I was before, I used to get a lot of bursaries. But for me, one thing I decided, I said, and then on the when you said about the vicious cycle, I went and I said, huyu mtoto lazima nimtafutie. There were so many offers from the men. They would want to give you something for you to, I mean, shika hii we come so far as I sleep with you, but I refused. And for me, what I decided to do was, I told you, I used to sell groundnuts and mabuyu. So for me, that was it. And I would say, I would have been lured easily. In fact, when you get when you get the first baby, to get the second one is so easy. It's so easy.
That is what happened to that girl.
Exactly. If you don't have, again, on the issue of who mentors you, who are you looking up to at that moment? Who has come and approached you and has walked with you and has talked to you? Again, you look at it and you say, if my parents are not able to do this, they are not supportive. Sinienda tu nipate mtu tena huko anipatie anioe, or you want to either to get married, or you'll just go get some few coins and get another baby.
I think for me the sad part is what you have said. It's a vicious circle.
It is.
And that breaking that vicious circle is what is even more dangerous. I think the economics of it is absolute poverty for the teenage pregnancies. What are you guys doing at your foundation? What are you able to do? But what more can we do? I'm sure you have some ideas. What more can you do? What can we do?
We have something we call sister keeper clubs in schools.
Oh, good idea.
Yeah, these are clubs. When we visit a school, we form a club. Now this club is made of girls only, and they become champions of no to teenage pregnancy. At the foundation, our motto is motherhood waits, and this is what we train these girls. We are not telling you, nikiwa huko naongeaga sana kwa sababu hapa ni kwa TV.
But huko kwa TV.
Yeah. We are not
you have to censor.
We are not telling them never to engage and enjoy sex, but we are telling them motherhood waits. Now this club has like 20 to 30 girls, and these become now the champion in school, in the village, and in their churches, and in their communities. And then now we keep training when we are not able to reach to so many girls, we train the clubs.
Yeah.
Then the clubs spread the message. Number 3, we do something, a very challenging project called Teenage Mothers Rehabilitation.
That's challenging.
Some girls were thrown out of school when they became teenage mothers. We follow up. For those who are sharp, we take them back to school. It has its fair share of challenges because of finances, but we believe they deserve a second chance. Though we don't want so many girls to see that we take the teenage mothers to school. Ndio wasikuje kufikiria now you can become a teenage mother because the foundation will take you back to school. But we have our own assessment criteria which we use to say this girl deserves to be taken back to school. Okay. But before we take you back to school, we train you on a number of things. Then in the same project, the rehabilitation program, we train teenage mothers now who are past school age. Others now who are not very good in school. We train them on business ideas. We provide startups for some of them, though it also has its own challenges because of something we call the mindset. These people want you to give them money. They don't want to, like we had a soap making project. Then some girls have really done it well. Others thought they should be given the money and sort their issues. And we have so many projects lined up for the girls, for the teenage mothers who will be willing. There are those who became teenage mothers while in business and stopped doing business. We support them to go back to business. Number 4, we offer material support by providing sanitary pads. And the issue of sanitary pads is overrated. Yeah. And many girls will tell you we became teenage mothers because we didn't have sanitary towels, and we went for men to buy us sanitary towels. And I will ask these girls, between diapers and sanitary towels, which is more expensive? Which is more expensive? And I think we are working with Daisy on a certain project in one of the constituencies in Kenya, that when we reach there, no girl from that constituency will ever buy their own sanitary pads. We will provide for the 5 years that we will be there.
Thank you.
And we are hoping that God will bless our vision. Yeah. And then the 5th one is the book. This is a project by itself. This invested a lot of money in producing. The idea was to raise funds, to sell the book and raise funds. But you remember here in 1982 when there was an attempted coup, the only shops that were not broken into in Nairobi were bookshops. Kenyans do not read. They don't steal books. Yeah, so the sales have been a bit low. But now we decided our aim to write the book and to produce the book was to pass information. So we pass the information as much as we can. The book is goes at 390 shillings. But when we find people who are willing even to read the book, we just give it to them. They read, especially the opinion leaders, other mentors, so that they can read on behalf of their people. When those numbers came up, the numbers you were talking about,
I was talking about
during the COVID-19, we donated several books to counties because we could not continue with our one-on-one missions. We decided to donate books to various counties. We also donated to some women organizations so that they can help us spread the message. So those are our 5 key areas.
What can be done? Because there's a problem.
And you see, it's very easy, by the way. Number 1, girls need to have a vision. Where do you want to go? And I'll tell you, teenage pregnancy is a dream killer. So we need role models. Whenever we go with Daisy to their village, mi umwambia Daisy, keti ni kuintroduce. You don't know how to introduce yourself here. I introduce her. And the first statement is, look at how beautiful she is. She's my wife. And that's what I saw, the beauty. And I tell them she's beautiful because she didn't become a teenage mother and stop her education.
By now she'd be very old.
Yeah. So I tell her she waited for motherhood, and now she has 2 kids. Yeah, and she's able to take care of the kids because she got her education and God blessed her with a job and a husband.
And a very good husband.
Yeah,
Job,
a very supportive
we
husband.
are very proud of you, Job.
Yeah, I've even written one paragraph in this book. Yeah, it's my own writing. But I typed the whole book because Daisy gave it to me when you were dating in campus.
Really?
She gave it to me. I had a laptop na nikatumia kutype mpaka ikaisha. But now, when the girls do not have a vision, they will fall for anything. But let's meet a girl who wants to become a banker, who wants to become a teacher, who wants to become a media personality. They know teenage pregnancy will kill that dream. If they know their vision is bigger than their current pleasures, they will stop it. Number 2, because of culture, we don't like saying this. We don't say it very much, but I've always been an advocate for the law. What does the law say? The Sexual Offences Act of 2006 is very clear about defilement. A teenage girl who becomes pregnant from research, most of them are impregnated by older people who are over 18 years of age. If you impregnate a 17 years girl when you are 18 years, the law is very simple. If the girl is between 15 and 18, you get your 15 years in jail.
Really?
If the girl is between 12 and 15, you get your 20 years in jail.
What?
If the girl is below 11 years, below 12 years, you get life imprisonment. Now, our societies, unajua hii ni mchezo, it's a home game, ni mchezo ya kinyumbani. Villagers impregnate their neighbors' daughters. Uncles impregnate their nieces. And now, when this matter, you mention of reporting something to the police, villagers
they come together.
Because this project began in Kalenjin land, they have something they call Kipga. Kipga means ga in Kikale is home. Now Kipga means tumalize kinyumbani. You go to Northeast and they have what they call, I think, maslaha. Wanamaliza kinyumbani. And every community in Kenya, even the law has out of court settlement. But now the law does not allow out of court settlement for defilement cases. So what we have failed, where the chiefs have failed, and dear little sister has talked to various chiefs and parents, where the government is failing is whenever these people withdraw the cases, the government does not follow up to
and
rearrest.
they do have a right.
Yeah.
The government can actually put up a case against.
And I've told these people, when I go, whenever we go to a mixed school, I go to talk to the boys, Daisy and other mentors, the male mentors, we talk to the boys, and Daisy talks to the girls. I've told them this way, in the village, let's jail 2 boys or 2 men because of teenage pregnancy. That village will change forever.
Hey,
And
job. We have to, I'm told we have run out of time. Can you imagine?
then maybe the last thing,
Yeah.
and I put this task on mothers.
Mothers, who are us?
Mothers do not talk to their girls. Me, I told Daisy, I don't care about your culture and how conservative you are. When my daughter is of age, I will tell her the advantages and the disadvantages of sex. And the disadvantages, to a teenager, there is no advantage of sex, even a single one. Yeah. Nataka mtu atembea niambie one advantage of sex to a teenager. And I'll nullify their theory and their hypothesis. So mothers need to overcome hizo taboos za kitambo. If you want your girls to be taught there. Because ni tabu kuongea maneno ya sex na watoto. Ni tabu kuongea na wao, and social media has all those things. All those girls are in WhatsApp groups. Now, some of those WhatsApp groups are dangerous. They were started by men who wanted to lure girls, and girls joined the groups. Now, at that point when they get this information from social media, the information has no authority. But when a mother gives this information, there is some authority. So mothers, and to some extent fathers, should speak to their girls and their boys also. Now, wasichana kwa nini, I'm not addressing the boys so much today. Wasichana wanafaa wajue kitu moja. Once you become a teenage mother, the boy who impregnated you will run away. For you to get another husband who is a bit serious, it's 1 in a million, like her. But mostly, utakuja ukianza kudate mwanaume, the minute atasikia uko na mtoi, ni hivyo. Men love beautiful girls, but they hate responsibilities. A baby is a responsibility. So where do these girls want to go? So it's a combined effort between chiefs, that's at the lower level enforcement agency, and then the parents talking to their girls.
Thank you, Jane.
Thank you.
I know in the second half you have not had much to say. Maybe you can say one small, quick parting shot.
Let's also educate the boys on the importance of that tomato that is not ripe that iko kwa shamba. Waiwache iive at the right time. It will be fruitful. It will be so sweet the right time.
DADA'S, thank you very much for watching us. I feel like we haven't even touched the surface of this subject. We will be back once Daisy is able to come, because I'd like her to tell us a bit more about the book and a bit about the village and her sister and how it all turned out. But thank you for watching us. And I will want to say, if you're a mom, talk to your child. If you're a teenage girl who's watching this show, wait. Just wait. And for the boys, have mercy. May God have mercy on you. Baraka.